Greetings. Welcome to the podcast, episode 1. I am your host, Richard Diosio, and I want to thank you for taking the time to listen to our podcast. It's a great project that I'm working on. From time to time, I'll host a series of podcasts, chatting with my friends, talking about mixed martial arts, boxing, anything else that you can think of. If you want to be a part of the show, have any questions for guests, thoughts, comments, I want to hear from you, richarddiosio@me.com. You can always follow me on Twitter as well, Twitter @richarddiosio. Today we have a great guest lined up for you, professional mixed martial artist, Cody Gibson, the Renegade. We're going to be chatting with him as he gets ready to take on Casey the Underdog Olson at Tachi Palace Fights, March 9th, 2012, at the Tachi Palace Hotel and Casino in Lemoore, California. And the word is from event organizers is that tickets are going fast. There's literally only a few left. So what you got to do is get your tickets now. And you can do that by going to tachipalace.com, purchasing your tickets. And we'll see you out there March 9th. We got Cody. We're working on getting him on the line. So in the meantime, why don't you just sit tight, listen to a brief message. We'll be right back with Cody Gibson. Hey, what's up, everybody? I just got a message from my good friend Jeremy Irwin, co-founder of FifthRoundClothing.com, and he wanted me to let you guys know he's got some new designs available on the website for purchase at FifthRoundClothing.com. So check that out. Great quality shirts at affordable prices. Fifth Round Clothing, MMA, clothing, entertainment at FifthRoundClothing.com. Okay, we're back. We managed to track down Cody Gibson. Cody getting ready for his fight against Casey Olson, March 9th, 2012, Tachi Palace Fights. Again, you can get your tickets at tachipalace.com. Cody, do we got him on the line? Are you there?
I am here, thanks.
Hey, what's going on, Cody? Like I mentioned to you earlier, I've been trying to track you down all week. You're a busy man. It sounds like you're busy this evening as well. A fighter out of the South Valley, Visalia, California, yet you spent the week up in Santa Rosa. What was that like, spending the week training in Santa Rosa?
I had a great week of training at the NorCal Fighting Alliance, which is Dave Terrell's school up there. A lot of guys fighting in a show in Northern California March 3rd. So we had a big team of fighters all kind of gearing up for a fight. Nate Lofgren, who's a UFC veteran, is making his return against Jamie Jara. So a huge group of fighters up there. Joe Soto, Dave Terrell, all helping me and helping all of us kind of helping each other improve and train hard for our fights. So had a really good week, really good experience up there.
Yeah, so now you make your way you made your way back from Santa Rosa to Visalia, where your home camp is based. Like we were chatting earlier, just talking about your role coming up into this fight. The headlines early on when this fight was announced was the hype going around Casey Olson, the return of Casey Olson after close to a 2-year layoff. Immediately, did that put you kind of in the underdog role?
I think so. I think in the Central Valley, he's a figure. There's no doubt about that. He's been, whether it was wrestling in high school or at Fresno City or Fresno State, and then onward into his MMA career. He's definitely been a figure. He's a guy I watched when I was in high school. I used to go to all of the Fresno State wrestling matches, and he was one of my favorite guys to watch wrestle. So he's definitely a figure in the Valley. So it doesn't surprise me that that's kind of the story behind the main event or the fight itself. But so I don't mind taking the underdog role. It motivates me. So
yeah, and he's coming off a layoff, and immediately one of the first things that we noticed is that he's cutting down a weight class to fight you in a division that you're comfortable with. Do you think that you're going to have that advantage, coming in, that you've been active at this weight class, and he's coming in off a layoff, having to cut weight into this division? Does that play into your hands?
You could, it's not something I spend too much time thinking about. Casey's a professional. He's been wrestling for a long time, so I'm sure he knows how to cut weight. I'm sure he's going to do a trial run and do all that good stuff. So I try to just focus on the things I can control as opposed to the things I can't. Because if I focus on the things I can't, and then he's doing the right things, then it's not going to play a factor. So, but yeah, all those things definitely could, come into play. I don't know, but can do is focus on the things I can control, which is, how hard I'm training and what I'm doing to prepare for the fight.
Yeah, you mentioned the professionalism in Casey Olson and having the experience of doing this, cutting weight before through his career as a wrestler. However, the layoff is something that he has to deal with. Do you think is that a strategy that you're going to come out and kind of press him a little bit and kind of test him out early to see if there's going to be any cage rust, if you will?
Yeah, I don't have a problem telling you guys that. You better be ready from the opening bell that I'm going to be coming forward and looking to engage. I don't have it. I just fought in December. I know I won't have any ring rust. I'll be ready to fight for the duration of the fight. So yeah, I'll definitely be coming out looking to. I'm not trying to dance for a minute or two. I want to fight right away. So.
Yeah, and you talked about again, you have been active and taking a look at at your record versus his record. On paper, he looks like the seasoned veteran, and of course, he has the accomplishments, high level fights. But in the short time of your career as a professional, you've come out and you've faced top tier opponents, and you've been highly active, especially in your last three fights. Taking out a UFC fighter, and you came up short against your fight against Gomez. However, you come right back from that fight and fighting another top tier opponent like Casey Olson. What's been the mindset in terms of the opponents that you choose to face every time you step into the cage?
For me, my goal is to be in the UFC. I think I've developed. I started fighting in college while I was wrestling in the summertime, just taking fights because people were handing me paychecks to take fights, and I didn't even think about the sport as a possible future career. And then after I got out of college and finished my wrestling career, I started taking it serious, and that's where you see the activity as far as me being active. I don't need to take easy fights because I know I can win easy fights, and I'm not so concerned about the record and building 10, 15 victories. I want to be in the UFC, and I feel like I can compete in the UFC. So when they offered me this fight, I said, you know what, let's do it. This is going to test me. It's going to motivate me to get up in the morning and train hard in the evenings, and so I don't really. I don't know. There was a second where I stepped back and said, well, what should I do? Should I be taking these easier fights? But when it came down to it, I don't really foresee myself getting to the UFC taking easy fights or anything like that. I got to beat a guy like Casey in order to show everybody that I'm here to stay and I can compete at the next level. So it was a no-brainer at the end of the day.
Yeah, you definitely have your eyes set on the next tier, which is the UFC. What's that like working with a promotion like Tachi Palace Fights, knowing their history back in their WEC days, and now with some of their fighters going into the UFC and now competing, and now here you are in a main event, with all eyes on the winner of this fight.
Yeah, I was just real fortunate, that I think I've had the majority of my fights have been Tachi throughout my entire career so far,
Right.
And to start out with, it was probably more so just the fact that I was a local fighter. So they do like to try to promote some local fighters. So I'm just fortunate in that regard. If I was living somewhere else, I might still be on the smaller regional or more regional shows. And who knows where I'd be? I might, So I just feel fortunate that I've been able to kind of, stay at the Tachi Palace, and they've had me back, and this is the last fight on my contract there, and we'll see where we go from here. But yeah, just feel fortunate about that as far as Tachi Palace goes.
Yeah, so that sounds like it's gonna be added motivation. Your last fight on the contract, fighting a guy like Casey Olson as well. What is it about the Central Valley? The promotion out at Tachi, fighters like yourself, fighters like Casey. What's the outlook in your opinion in regards to MMA in California, specifically the Central Valley?
Well, I think that the Central Valley just has a really rich tradition in wrestling. Whether it be in the northern Central Valley area, like Clovis, Fresno area, or even Visalia, in Selma developed quite a program, and Bakersfield, obviously. So I think that naturally, some of the guys that were wrestlers have transitioned to MMA, and so it's kind of a hotbed. And then just the history of the Tachi Palace too. I mean, they had the WEC before the WEC became, the WEC. So
Right.
it's just kind of a culmination of all those things, I guess.
Yeah, and one of the things you mentioned about the rich tradition in the Valley of collegiate wrestling, even at the high school and junior high level, and of course the club wrestlings associated with that. That's where you're at this evening, and you mentioned that Casey Olson is also there as well. You're at a tournament this weekend.
Yeah, it's the divisional tournament for the Central Valley, so the first postseason or post league. The qualifier tournament to get to the state championship. So we're both here, we're both coaching our teams, and trying to qualify as many kids we can through.
Yeah, and so now, what is that like? Of course, you got you're focused on getting your kids, training them, coaching them, and I'm sure Casey's doing the other thing. But at the end of the day, leading up to the fight on March 9th, you guys are opponents. So is there any kind of just staring over to see what he's up to or see how he's looking, or vice versa?
I try to deny it, but you're probably dead on. It probably has happened on both sides a little bit. I've noticed he's a little bit smaller than some of his previous portray or how he might have looked last year, and that's probably attributed to him dropping down the weight class.
Sure.
But yeah, we shook hands earlier, said hi to each other, and kind of went about our day. But a lot of coaches ask, it's kind of becoming a thing I've noticed today. A lot of coaches coming up, hey man, I heard about the fight, and so it's kind of interesting to see that kind of play out. But it's a little bit different, and it's going to be a little bit different the next couple of weeks seeing each other leading up to the fight. Usually don't see your opponent week after week,
right
before you're about to fight each other. But what are you going to do?
Yeah, we're chatting with Cody Gibson as he's getting ready to take on Casey Olson at Tachi Palace Fights. Lemoore, California. TachiPalace.com is where you can get the tickets. The event takes place March 9th, again, at the Tachi Palace Hotel and Casino. Great venue, great location, of course, a great promotion, and you're going to see a great event. Cody, early on, I mean, who's winning in terms of the wrestling? Your team or his team?
We both have young teams. He's got a team, young Clovis North team, kind of a newer high school in Clovis. And I've got Mount Whitney High School versus my alma mater.
All right.
And they're building programs. It's not about, we're not at the top of the heap yet either of our schools. So I'm not keeping tabs on that on that aspect of it. But yeah, we're both in the process of building programs. So it's a little bit less competitive than it might be if we had the two top teams in the Valley.
Right. Well, you guys are going to have your chance to compete against each other March 9th, Tachi Palace Fights. Cody Gibson versus Casey Olson. Cody, is there anything else that you want to add or shout-outs to anyone?
Just want to encourage people to come out and support. If you're a local person, living in the Central Valley, whether you're a fan of Casey or you're a fan of myself or anyone else on the card, they always put on a good show. They have a good after party if that's the kind of thing you're into afterwards. And it always is a good show. They have, I don't know of too many other shows that you can go to within a 100-mile radius that's going to have the type of talent you're going to be able to see out there. So just encourage people to come out and support the local fighters and the other fighters coming in from out of the area that are highly ranked or whatever they are. That's all, and just thank my teams. I want to thank Santa Rosa, NorCal Fighting Alliance, just for having me up there. Not sure if anyone's listening, but if they are, I was really fortunate to go up there and train. And my team here, I tell you, at Elite MMA, and everybody down south as well. So appreciate you having me on the air as well.
Yeah, and thanks for coming on. I know you're very busy with your schedule, the coaching that you're involved in as well, and of course the training leading up to the fight. We look forward to seeing you in the cage against Casey Olson, March 9th, Tachi Palace. Get your tickets at TachiPalace.com. Cody, thanks again for coming on the air with us, and we'll see you soon. Good luck, my man.
All right, thank you.
That's the Renegade, Cody Gibson, my guest today, and I want to thank him for taking the time to chat with us on this podcast. And I want to thank you for taking the time to download the podcast. Any questions, thoughts, about today's interview. Again, email me, richarddiosio@me.com. Follow me on Twitter. Follow me on Facebook. Hear the music playing. So that means we got to conclude this episode of the podcast. Again, thanks. Get your tickets, TachiPalace.com. Hope to see you at the fights, and we'll be chatting with you soon. Thanks. Have a good one.
Stay true to what I do, and I ain't new to none of this. I'm only new to you. Moving through with art be incredible. The Sappho flow, you better act like you know, bruh. My percussionists be crushing it. The son, the soon, the yada, so why they honor your father. A lot of us rushing the game, but never think if it's a game, someone must get played. So I guard my cards, watch nervous cats fold them like Texas hold them now. And keep an ace in the hole. Independent artists know hard is what makes them whole. So we don't follow charts or trends. We only got them on the water, throw darts at them. Now bring it in. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. That's how we give it to them all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Yeah, that's how we give it to them all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Yeah, that's how we give it to them all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Party,
Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee fulla ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Ci yow, ci yow, ci yow, ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee fulla ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Ci yow, ci yow, ci yow, ci yow.
Is it possible on the djembe to make funds or build hospitals like the Kembe? Matumbo, I'm confident but humble. I see men with no legs beg. How can I stumble? I walk it out. Fake conscious brothers love to talk about revolution, offer no solution. What's that all about? I'll probably get booed in your club. I make too much sense. Plus, there's too many thugs and wannabes. Suckers get from in front of me. This is what listening to Chuck D has done to me. Now, what you wanna see? Power to the people. The coward selling evil. I need you. What's it gonna be? Hell, now we ain't no positive rappers. We simply positive. Doubt a lot of heads are backwards. And y'all don't even listen to rhymes unless we trick your behind until we get to your mind. Now hit me one time. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Yeah, that's how we give it to 'em all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Yeah, that's how we give it to 'em all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Yeah, that's how we give it to 'em all day. Bet 'em up, get 'em up. Come on, Bate.
Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee fulla ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Ci yow, ci yow, ci yow, ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee fulla ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Ci yow, ci yow, ci yow, ci yow. Aduna gi jarul ñaaw te ñoo booloo. Aduna gi jarul ñaaw kay leen ñu juboo. Aduna gi jarul xeex te ñoo booloo. Aduna gi jarul ñaaw kay leen ñu juboo. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee fulla ci yow. Jafar sa wax bu dee dëgg ci yow. Ci yow, ci yow, ci yow, ci yow.